We talked about estimating the direct effect of the lockdown. So, when you close a restaurant, you shut that restaurant down. But when you close the restaurant, you also end demand for that restaurant for electricity, which means that the power plants aren't necessarily producing at with the levels that they normally would be, which means there's less coal demand, which means miners don't have jobs and so forth. So there's all these indirect effects. And it turns out that these indirect effects were really large. And so the total effects, when you take large direct effects and even larger indirect effects, were very large. We also found that these large effects were even more extreme or more concentrated in earnings for unskilled labor. That unskilled labor suffered about the biggest setback, with strong implications for low-income households. So we ended up with a pair of conclusions. First, these income declines alone, that especially lower-income households were suffering, were large enough to push households who depend on labor income for their earnings into a situation of food insecurity. Second, the fact that many households in South Africa don't count uniquely on labor income, they also get transfers from the government, provided a substantial support, especially to low-income households. So this is a good illustration of the value of transport programs when big shocks come along.